where it gets a little interesting. The other auctions that are doing a live component to their auction as well as a silent auction, they open their bidding on the live auction items at approximately the same time as they open the silent bidding. And that's to kind of get the price set up there. It begins to get people aware of what they're looking at for those live items, and probably kind of reduces the number of people that will be bidding on the day of the auction. Now that's could be a bit of a negative, but at the same time, one of the problems we're going to have is trying to make sure we are able to recognize everybody that's bidding. So it would be a heck of a lot easier if we only have 5 or 6 people bidding at the start of the live auction. So I think what we should do is go ahead and open the live for bidding on the 14th as well, and then actually have the full-blown auction for the 14th on the 19th, and sell those items at the auction live. That will confirm the sale at the auction live. We'll also close the silent auction before 5 o'clock or a little bit after 5 o'clock on the 19th. Okay. Mass advertising.
I got a question, Tim.
Yeah.
If we close the silent auction before we have our remote parties, then you won't be bidding on silent auctions at our parties. They'll have to bid it from their home.
I'm kind of with Bruce there. I think the silent auction needs to be open at least till halfway through the live auction. I mean, you got all these people signing on to bid live. You might as well allow them to bid on the silent stuff too. I mean, the only thing it's going to do is drive prices up a little bit, maybe.
That, that's fine with me. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll go ahead and keep the silent auction open into the live auction.
Yeah.
Should anybody else have a question at this point or a comment? Okay. As far as mass media, this is I sent this to you earlier, Mike, but I got it confirmed a little bit. We can get quarter page ads in the newspaper in color, and these are $3.55 per day. That's about half their normal rate. They're willing to do that, and they recommend that we put one in the paper on Sunday, the 13th. That's the day before we open the auction, and do another one on Wednesday, the 17th. Just, in the middle of the week of the auction.
Okay.
If we go ahead and do those two, that would be $700, but they also recommend if we would do another one sometime before that, maybe a week or so before we do that Sunday ad. So we just need to set a budget for what we want to spend on the newspaper ads. Those are not only to promote the auction, because at least half of those ads will be the logos of our sponsors. And since they've kicked in 50 grand, as Bruce can tell us, we want to do everything we can for them. The good news Bruce got yesterday is Savvy Bank signed up for the title sponsorship of our spring auction.
Perfect.
6,000 on that already. So that's great. Then we can also do a thing on Go Skagit for $300. They have this, they put these little flags up on the opening when you get into Go Skagit, and they will put up 25,000 of those little flags at different times. And it will have the auction name, probably pretty much what we talked about with the banner, but a little more, we'll have a date and all of that, but a go-to, there'll be a way that if they hit the thing, it'll take them right to the auction site, and then they can register and all of that. So that's another 300, which I think would be good. KBRC and CAPS, they will sell us 60 30-second ads for $1,000. We can have them write the advertisement and use their announcers to deliver it, or we can have club members deliver the message. But if we have club members do it, they recommend that the individual club members write up their own statements, so it doesn't sound like it's canned. It's got to sound like the club member to be effective. So Mike, you would be one of those guys, and
Yeah.
you would do a 30-second write-up. They will help you, they will edit it for you and guide you to do a better job with it. And then you would go down to KBRC studio and they'd record you at the studio. So that would be, again, they'd be running ads from the 7th to the 11th of September. And then, I can't remember it all. They have one ad that is run from the 7th to the 11th. They have a second ad, a second and a third ad. They record two different ads to run from the 14th to the 18th, and then one ad run on the 19th. So they spread those 60 different ads over that time. But that means we've got to record, if we're going to do those recordings ourselves, we've got to have 4 different people do ads. So that's going to be, Mike, I think that would be great if you did one. I don't know who else you want to have do one.
Well, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I mean, yeah, I can do it, but these guys are the professionals.
And that's another option, one I'd love, because I don't like writing statements.
You know, I mean, as long as they're writing it and we approve it, and we can get, I don't know, Mike Yeoman or somebody to read them. That
Real
would
good.
be my personal preference.
Any other comments on that?
Carl's
Yeah.
got his hand up.
Hi there. So I don't mean to be a contrarian, but on the radio, people tend to tune to different voices.
Okay.
And I think something that's heartfelt from the community, especially from a community organization like the Rotary, it's like, I am part of the Rotary, and this is our biggest fundraiser of the year, because we fund the Helping Hands Food Bank. We fund 5 high schoolers to be able to have a chance to start off well in in college. You know, we start writing those types of personal stories of why are we in the Rotary, right? And what are the things that we're doing that we can be passionate about? And that's going to come through authentically. That's my feeling.
Okay.
That was something they mentioned, and I forgot to add to it. Carl's right, that when they hear a different voice, that grabs their attention.
So I'll give you an example. I interned at a radio station in college. So you get the Sunday, we'll sell you the whole seat, but you only need the edge. Kids, pit pass free for 12, right? So that gets tiring over a period of time. But if you have multiple voices from multiple tenors, gender and demographics, it I think helps spread the message. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's what people think we need to do, then I got no problem with it.
I just think
just one.
just mix it up. You do a little bit of both.
Is that an option, Tim? You know, we have.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could have 1 or 2 people or 4, just however we want to do it. I'll bring it up at the meeting again tomorrow and see how many people would like to do it. Carl, I'm guessing you'd be willing to do that?
I'm happy to do it.
And I was thinking Carrie might be a good one.
Yes, definitely.
Carl Garrison might be interested.
There we go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Carl Garrison would be another good one. Yeah. Good idea,
Yeah.
Bruce. There you got 4.
Okay. Who are the 4? The 2 Carls? Carrie?
2 Carls, Carrie, and me, I guess.
Okay, good enough.
President Mike.
Well done. Well done.
Got to
Mike.
do something here.
Yeah.
Okay,
How long is the spot? I'm sorry.
30 seconds.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay, I'll start working on, well, I got several things to write here for you.
Okay. And then again, talked about the direct mail. We'll be sending that invitation out, and I'll have Ruth start to work on that. And then part of what we're planning now is for the actual auction, we will have, when people register, we will send them a bidding card. And the bidding card they'll hold it up when they want to bid. And on the back side of that will be an ad for Savvy Bank. Again, I want to do everything we can for them. And so we want to get those registrations in early and try to get as many bidding cards out as we can. And along with the bidding card, we'll enclose more information, just a reminder about the whole auction. So we'll send out 2 different mailings. And those are about $4.50 each.
Okay. So right now, if I'm doing the math correctly, we're somewhere around $3,000 to $3,500 in advertising.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, real close.
I don't see an issue here. I think we need to advertise as much as we possibly can.
I second the amendment.
I think we owe it to the sponsors because they're going to be a big part of that. And the other part of this is we've seen that the other auctions that have been running haven't done all that darn well. So we've got to find some way to broadcast this out to a bigger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that handles a lot of this stuff. Mass advertisement, reader boards. Anybody who knows anybody on that one, I mean, like E&E Lumber, those guys always make a donation to the auction. And so I'm sure they'd be happy to put up something on the reader board.
I think Savvy Bank has a reader board don't they, in Sedro?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we have a reader board at the storage facility in our John L. Scott Sedro Woolley office. We can probably put something up there.
Okay,
And
great.
somebody should probably talk to Pioneer Market. They've got that reader board out front.
I'll bring that up tomorrow and get some people to volunteer to go put out to get the reader board ads up. On the registration, when we go to that website, I know Bruce, you had a little trouble initially, and I kept thinking like where you've got it yellow now, register now.
Yeah.
Would it be wise to put something like, I don't know, I'd be thinking like a button, press here to register now.
I might be able to embed some sort of button.
Is that necessary? I mean, I saw you added that and I didn't think for a second that it was, oh, hit that and I'll register. But then I'm not up on this stuff.
But here's my opinion. I thought you could hold the mouse over register now and you could get to it. Is that true?
Yes.
Yep, so you can. And also the ribbon on the top is very visible. So I had no problem doing it this afternoon after Danny sent it back to me. And I'm maybe a little bit better than you, Tim, but not a whole lot, okay?
Again, I'm not all that up on any of this stuff. And there's the tech people and in general, just everybody in general probably knows a heck of a lot more about that kind of stuff than me. But I just wanted to get another opinion out there.
But Tim, another thing is a lot of people that are going to write a bigger check probably are like you that don't know much about computers, okay? So I think having it really easy to manipulate is good, but I felt it was pretty good this afternoon when I went and did it. So that's my 2 cents.
Tim, this is your opportunity to blossom. Just look at the opportunity COVID brings to you. You're growing as a human being and not getting any bigger in size. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Sheena. I actually have. I'm not saying I learned how to do it, but I annoyed my daughter until she figured out how to load the camera onto the web. So, okay, Rich and Mike, again, I sent you a note, Mike, to find out what you need for selling those squares at our auction meetings. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking we might want to have some instructional videos or PowerPoints so that when you get in there, you could learn a little bit about what's going on. We're certainly going to have some promotional videos trying to show a few things. The one that we're working on with all the sponsors and all. You guys have worked, I hope you've all registered on the site. Do you think do we need videos or PowerPoints explaining how to do things?
What do you mean, Tim? How to get into the Zoom or how to register?
How to bid? I mean, what?
All of it, yeah. How to get onto Zoom, how to
make a bid.
say what?
I was saying, how do you even make a bid? So you should
want
have
to do a
instructions
primer?
on how to bid.
How to make a bid.
Well,
That
then
kind-
yeah, never mind.
Well, I do know if you go out and you look at the Laconnor Rotary Club's auction, which I think opened up today or tomorrow, and
Yeah,
goes
today.
live on the 20th, they do have a button here to say, says how to bid or something like that, that you can go in and it gives you directions. Now, I didn't press it, but I assume it's either a little video or text or something that says how to bid. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Some of the other auctions actually have a PowerPoint show that they run for about an hour before the auction starts. And they just have that thing cycling through,
Yeah.
explaining different aspects of it. So we need to figure out if we want to do that. And then I'd love to find somebody that knows how to do PowerPoints and would get that set up. Again, that's part of my growth that I don't intend to take place right now. Another point, so far the items on the site look pretty darn good, and we've got to encourage people to get great photos of silent auction items and everything, because we don't have the handling that we normally count on to sell the item. So we want to have great photos and good descriptions. So encourage everybody, and when you're sending in your items yourself, try to get good photos and good descriptions.
Make sure you bring that up tomorrow, Tim, at the meeting.
I will. Okay, got that done. One area we haven't talked about at all is how are we going to send all this stuff home? I imagine that, and Carl, you might know more, I don't think anybody's using the community center, so I thought on Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the week of the auction, we could start bringing all the items on over to the community center, set them up in there, have the auction Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, we could run on in there and try to get the stuff all sorted so people can come on in and pick up all their items. And
So how long would you need because we'll check with the city on the availability, right?
yeah, I'll be calling them tomorrow.
Okay.
I already reserved Friday and Saturday.
Plan B could be the senior center.
And, oh yeah, that's right. So I'll probably do that, but we need to be thinking about how we're going to get that stuff sent home. Certainly some of the items like the kayaks and all, John will deliver as he always has. But we don't want people driving out to deliver a candle holder or something along that line. We're going to want the people to come on in and pick those up. And we can either do it on Sunday or Monday or another day during the week. I just think we need to get as much stuff as we can out of that community center to avoid people breaking in and getting it.
Sometimes the extra items that haven't been picked up at the auction, they end up going to Janneke Metcalf, and people will pick them up there. Right now, and I assume at that point, we'll still be thin on how many people are actually working from the office. So we could talk to John, and we might be able to reserve some areas there so that people weren't limited just to one Sunday where they might be out of town or something. And then it would be easy to, just work from the office and answer the door and grab their stuff.
Thank you. That's a good option.
Yeah, and I think once we get that finalized, Tim, what we're gonna do as far as that probably needs to be on the website too. Items will be available for pickup.
Yep. So we'll try to get that set up. I'll bring that up again tomorrow. Try to get a group working on doing that because that's going to be a significant amount of stuff's going to have to be hauled into there and set up. And the way they're doing it these days in most of these auctions is that after the auction's over, you find bidder number 100 and you run through and you pick up all his things, put them all in a bag or a box. And then the day they come to pick up, they just bring in their bid card and go, I'm number 100, and boom, out it goes. You've got it all already separated and there's no messing around. Okay.
Just a quick question, Tim, on the bid cards. You were talking about people holding up their bid. If people register the day of the auction, they're not going to have a bid card, obviously. Are they just going to hold their hands up? I mean, are we going to give them a bid number at that point and they can write that bid number down on a piece of paper, or I don't know?
Well, we can,
yeah, go ahead, Danny.
we can email them their bidder number, and then, yeah, they'll just have to put it on a piece of paper or something.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm wondering if we use these reactions. So if you're bidding, boom, you throw your thumb up, and then at the end, okay, here's my bid number. I don't know.
Well, the only thing is there might be, 6 people in a,
Going at the same time.
well, I mean, like you might be at a house with 5 or 6 other people. And so putting the thumbs up, Phil, is it you or,
Yeah, right.
somebody else? That's the only thing I'm thinking of. So
Is that a question you can ask Tom Pasma?
We could sure ask him. I'll just say, I can hold up a card. I don't know how to make that little thumbs up.
Yeah, and I mean, my question is, okay, we're going to have people monitoring 300 little Zoom things going from, I mean, you can only get, I don't know what, 25 or 30 of them on a screen. So they're going to have to be scrolling through and recognize, I mean, that's going to be hard. We're probably going to have a bunch of people monitoring. I don't know how that works.
Danny, did you want to answer that?
I think we're planning to have a couple different people be spotters.
Okay.
So I plan to have Zoom up on 2 screens so that I can watch, multiple screens. And it also depends on your screen size. So like I work at home on a Mac. And so usually even on the big meetings, I can see a large group. I'm not having to hit the tab and, if we get thousands of people, it might be a little bit tricky, but
Yeah.
I don't think we're working with that big of a crowd. So, and we can also use the chat function too, if somebody says, hey, miss it too. So we can also encourage people to, throw their name in the chat too.
In the chat. Okay.
And that's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be a few people, not just a few, there's going to be several people that have probably very little experience with Zoom. And I still haven't figured out how to use that darn chat thing. I don't know how to do that. But so trying to get things where they're holding up a bid card and try to keep it as simple as possible and not confuse them. I'm pretty much done, guys. I think that's what I had to cover.
Tim?
Yeah.
Could I just talk home parties?
Yes.
And that's pretty much the end of the whole conversation. So the whole survey deal, basically how that ended out is there are some people that are having a home party. They're noted on the survey. A handful of Rotarians are just having a handful of Rotarians over. But with the direction that we're under, and right now limiting of 5, and a lot of people in their professional positions have to respect that, at least publicly, regardless of what their personal position is and what they do personally. So, myself, Christine, and Mary were still up for having people over. We still have a handful of Rotarians who would go to a home party if they were invited, but it basically removes even really the suggestion of offering home parties to
Yeah.
outside Rotarian guests. And it looks like, except for one handful of people, anybody who wanted to go to a home party is already linked up with another Rotarian, and 80+% of everybody intends on being from home, or
Yeah.
you know, a couple of people just said they're out of town, they're not going to log in regardless. So so that eliminates that, and people are just going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, good point. I had figured that there are people I've talked to that are going to do it. They're all set up for it. They're happy with it, but I'm not going to promote it at all. It's just, if it happens, it happens, and what the heck.
Yeah, and like I said, there are a couple people that if you know, if the people have room around the table or in their living room and they want to look at that list, there are a handful of people that wouldn't mind socializing with their fellow Rotarians and be invited, but it's a small handful that haven't been looked after so far.
Well, yeah, and Sheena, I mean, I know I said I was going to have a home party and invite the presidents and everything, and she's out of the room, so I'm just going to say it. My wife is pushing back on that a little bit because we both work in areas where, you know, exposure is kind of high, so.
Some people have to protect their professional you know, position, and so we have to just have to respect that and do whatever we do on this.
Yeah, I think this year especially, we're probably going to end up, like you say, just people are going to log in and we get what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan Sims here.
Yeah, there's Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Dan's here. I got a couple comments. I've listened to all these auction meetings and you know, when Phil Mihalik and I were presidents of the club back in those years, we made like $35,000. We had a volunteer auctioneer. He auctioned cows off upriver, you know, but he was free. So we paid for a professional auction group to come in, and we went to $100,000 the first year. What I hear here is we're trying to create the wheel. Nobody, I mean, no offense, but nobody seems to know, and I don't expect anybody to know. And for $4,500, I understand we can hire the Stokes Group, who have done this more than once, to give us some more advice. That's one comment. Comment number two is, as a retailer, I quit using the newspaper 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They're just, it's 4 pages. I mean, I don't know anybody on this conversation here gets the newspaper. I do, just to see who died, but there's nothing else in there that's really worth anything. As far as advertising for this thing, everybody but Tim and I have Facebook, and I think we should promote everybody in the club to get on Facebook and tell all their friends, and give them all the information with Facebook. I mean, they're talking to, I don't know how many people everybody has, but they all seem to have a lot of people there. Okay. Another comment, radio's questionable. I listen to it in the morning because I like the announcer, but I don't know, you should poll everybody to see who listens to the radio. And my last one is, I've donated flowers, and Tim asked me about the flowers. I spend $45 to $50 for a flower pot, 12 of them. People will give $20 to try to win one, but will people pay $45 to $50 to buy one? That's a question in my mind. And if you don't think they would, I'd just donate the cash to the club, and you get 100% of it instead of half of it. So those are my comments.
Good comments. Dan and I talked about this before, and there's been a lot of talk about should we bring in a professional to help us out. It would certainly solve a lot of questions. And I'll tell you this, since we're planning a meeting on Monday to see just how well we can set this up. We may find that there are some problems that just aren't going to work out well for us. So I'd like to reserve judgment on that until after the month meeting. But it's something we do need to consider, just as we're seeing right now, trying to find out if can we use Zoom to handle the extra people. And also there are things they could probably help us with. I have no doubt about that.
I have one other comment that's separate from that too. When I was making my calls to try and get the survey filled in, a lot of people didn't actually know that there was still an auction or what the auction date was. And I was surprised at a little bit of which people those were. And so we still have a lot of Rotarians that maybe they're actually logging into Zoom, maybe they're not. We have that list that Christine made up, but people are still not actually, I think Mike has some feedback. Somebody
Nicest red ones I've ever had.
Somebody needs to mute themselves.
Somebody has needs to mute, yeah. I think that there's you would be surprised at how many Rotarians actually are still not retaining or actually hearing what's actually being said at meetings when they do come to the meetings or listen into the meetings. But a lot of people were like, oh, I thought we were not doing the auction or whatever. And it was surprising at which people those were. It was good to have the excuse to call a lot of people, but it was still surprising just in general regarding the auction and not the auction as far as participation from Rotarians and who's plugging in.
Well, a comment on that from me is I've been on most of these Zoom calls. The maximum number of members I've seen has been 35 to 39, and tonight we have 12. So it's the few who are doing all the work, and nobody else is really participating.
I have a comment on Dan. Dan, you had every one of your comments was great. Thank you for that. They were well thought out and very timely.
Thanks, Bruce.
Well, you owe me a bottle of wine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a full proponent of hiring professionals. I mean, people in my business, I can build it myself, and they screw it up, and then it happens, and they go through all the headaches. And they would have paid us to do it. They would save money. I don't do my own taxes. I don't go to my own attorney. I mean, I hire professionals. So for $5,000, if we hire a professional, we don't want to screw up the first one. Nobody will come to the second or third one. So I'm proposing that we think about that as an option. It might be too late, only a month out. I don't know.
That was my question, is whether we could get a professional involved at this point. I mean, we are, 5 weeks out. I don't know.
I got a letter from them about 2 weeks ago saying they're there to help us. So I think they're willing to get involved if we want to do it. I'll tell you, I'd be happy to do it. It's a chunk of money, but as Dan says, it may pay off. And certainly I can see areas as we're trying to work this out where I think it would probably help us out.
If
Spades, okay? All you need is 5 more people to put in $1,000 more and you paid it, okay?
If we're actually going to do more virtual events, even if it's in conjunction with a live event, what you could glean from a professional right now may just be money in the bank down the road if then you don't have to hire them in the future and do a more quality job now, even if you net a little less, then you're actually, in a way, they're actually a consultant and everyone's learning from the process.
Okay, Tim, I'll start this out. I'll write a check for half of that $4,500 tomorrow.
Got it.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll call them tomorrow.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, I like your style.
Thanks again.
Money talk.
I think Dan laid down a challenge, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm in a COVID year right now.
Does that still work?
Okay. So Dan, the points you made, the flowers, yeah, I think that's a pretty good comment. I think we'll probably just cancel that.
Okay,
We'll let you put that money toward the pro guy.
perfect.
What about on the ads, the newspaper, the radio? Again, this is something I don't, Dan knows far more about this than I would. What do you think, guys?
Well, we started doing everything on the internet.
I
10
would
years
agree with the
ago.
newspaper. There's not a lot of big bang for your buck with that. They're just, the circulation is just too low.
Right, exactly.
Well, Bruce, what do you think about, as far as recognition of the sponsors? I mean, is an ad in the paper something they're going to go, why'd you spend the money on that?
I don't think the newspaper probably is a good bang for the buck, but maybe Skagit Breaking would be good. Just because everybody subscribes to Skagit Breaking and they'll get the ribbon come up. More importantly, they'll have people call them and say, hey, I saw you come up that you sponsored the club on this. And so that will be the thing that makes it worthwhile. So I think Skagit Breaking, yes, newspaper, medium.
Well, I can have them do this Go Skagit bit because that's online.
Well, that's what I meant, Go Skagit.
Can you put the sponsors on those banners you're talking about?
I
Skagit
doubt
Breaking, you can.
Skagit Breaking, yeah. Go
Yeah.
Skagit, I don't think so.
Bottom line is the sponsors need to have local recognition. They need to get phone calls from people that say they saw them, okay? I'm in business. I like it when somebody calls me and say, I saw their ad, or I saw this, I saw that. I'm thinking, oh, it's working, okay? So that's important.
What about radio?
I think radio's old fashioned.
You guys want to skip that?
I would vote yes because I don't think people listen to ads. I don't. I switch channels and listen to something else.
I'll bring it up tomorrow at the meeting too, but be thinking about it, guys. And
I was going to say, how many of us actually listen to KBRC and CAPS?
Once in a while.
Seldom.
never.
I mean, maybe if there's a football game on that I want to listen to in the car, but
I listen to them online.
There's the answer to that question.
If you were to take those same $3,000 that you're going to spend on newspaper ads or radio ads, the amount of, and use it on online Facebook ads or digital marketing, you're going to get, I don't even know how much more exposure, but I boost properties all the time for $50 a week, and the amount of exposure and response that I get has paid for itself 100 times over. And you know how many calls I've gotten from the newspaper ads? None. The real estate books, none. You know, people pick them up, but they don't do anything with them. So
which
what all
sites
are you talking about? You're talking Facebook ads. What else is out there? I mean, I don't know this stuff because I don't advertise in any of them.
I think Facebook ads are your best bet. I mean, Skagit Breaking does offer paid advertising on their site. So those are definitely, that's the route I would look.
So Facebook, Go Skagit, and Skagit Breaking. Who knows anything about doing any of these types of ads? I can handle the Go Skagit ad. Skagit Breaking, I had placed ads on that for the school district, but I had forgot the name. I couldn't remember it.
Well, doesn't Ruth's husband work for Skagit Publishing?
He works for Skagit Publishing, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll get with Ruth on that then. Good old Ruth.
I'm bugging out.
Okay.
Well, Ruth lives in that world. She has all those connections too.
Anything else, guys?
I'm on the auction website, and I thought it would be a good addition to put up. You had that project flyer. I thought it'd be good to have, what do the proceeds of the auction go to? What does it support? If there's any opportunity to get testimonials from some of the students that got scholarships. on
Yeah.
there to make it have more of a connection?
I did, Tomas. I had a bunch of stuff on there before we were going virtual, but once
Yeah.
we went virtual, I started to condense the amount of tabs at the top because I felt like people would get on there and they wouldn't be sure what to click on. They would get lost. So I can definitely add that back on there. Like I said, I had just taken it off because once we moved virtual, I didn't want somebody to get on there and then get confused navigating the site.
Sure.
So,
I can make that flyer available. I just have to get Mark to send it to me again because I lost it somehow. But we can get the attachment available so people can send it out in their mail to other folks and all.
and maybe I can add it. Maybe I can put a photo further down under the sponsors that's got a hyperlink on it, opposed to at the top navigation menu, just so that, like I said, I just wanted to make it as simple as possible when people got on the site, at the top. So, but I think there's a way I can do it, Tomas, and have that information because I think it is important. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got real good guys.
Thank you,
Mark.
Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah,
Let us
thank
know
you, Mark.
how your conversation goes with Stokes, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
you too.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you. Give me your live items.
Yeah.